What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Today I'm joined by Tom Halpin. Tom is an ADCC vet. He's a Combat Jiu JitsuChampion and he's a legend as well. Thanks for joining, Tom.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So to start off with, Tom, what's it been like training with the Drag Squad team?
It's been great. It's been a lot different than I actually expected, because I was training at home. I wanted to get kind of more up to speed with the competition type training, so I just sent Ash a message and said I'd come over and see how it is. And I think the biggest takeaway I've had the last few weeks is just having so many people on the mat consistently, and they all have very ambitious mindset as well, which is something that's I didn't realize how rare it was to have that many people all with the same kind of ambitions and in a way where they want to help each other as well. It's not just a group of individuals. So it's been very impressive, and I feel like part of the team already, to be honest. It's been great, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I feel like everyone that comes here, they say that the environment's just amazing, and that's amazing to hear. But let's take it back now. Your journey through jiu-jitsu. So talk to me about why and how you got involved in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I guess I always played a lot of sports when I was a young kid. Since I'm 3-4 years old, I was always playing all kinds of sports, and I kind of always wanted to be an athlete all through my childhood and teenage years and stuff. But I was always a bit undersized in some of the sports I was trying to play, like basketball, rugby, these kind of sports, So it wasn't until I kind of came across MMA and I realized that there's weight classes in it and stuff, and I really saw the skill involved in it as well. And then I went to do MMA, and there was jiu-jitsu on in the same gym, so I was doing a bit of MMA, a bit of jiu-jitsu. And I just realized early on that I had kind of a talent for jiu-jitsu. So then I just kind of naturally started training a bit more, and I stuck with that. And yeah, it's been going well. Just really enjoyed it.
Now we're here. Yeah, for sure. What gym did you start off with?
Just in a small club in my hometown, Limerick. Yeah, so a small city on the west coast of Ireland. And yeah, there was some good guys there. There was some, again, consistent people that just wanted to get better at the sport. So I was kind of lucky in that way. And yeah, I just used to go as much as I could. I've never trained that much throughout all the different belts. But yeah, I was just lucky that I kind of took it upon myself to learn from an early age in the sport. I was teaching since I'm a blue belt, really. And then it forces you to do your own study, plan your own, not just your goals, but plan the drills and the kind of training program that you're going to do as well. So I have a lot of experience with that, and I think it's helped me be able to keep improving a lot each year,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Did you, when did you know, that's what you want to do? How was it telling your parents I want to do jiu-jitsu full time?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I guess it kind of happened naturally. It kind of happened in stages, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So my goal from early on was just I love jiu-jitsu. I want to do it every day. And then I was thinking, how can I get a situation where I can train every day? And then naturally over time you start to do a bit better, get through the belt ranks, win some competitions. And I didn't make any money from jiu-jitsu, I'd say, until I was already a black belt for a year. So I just used to work small little jobs. I was lucky that I had a few kind of well-paying part-time jobs. Don't ask me how I got them, but I did. And I just used to put all that back into learning, traveling to learn, going to seminars, everything, just paying for my own training and living and everything. And yeah, it's all worth it, I suppose. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, you talked about pay there. What is the pay like in jiu-jitsu? Because I feel a lot of people, they think that, I'm just going to do jiu-jitsu, and then they quit their job to do jiu-jitsu, but then they realize, oh no, I've got no money and I'm just training.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
That's the thing that does happen a lot, is people, let's say, quit college to do jiu-jitsu, which is exactly what I did. I was going to university studying sports science, and I left that to train.
Yeah.
But I was just lucky that I had parents that supported me, and again I was just lucky in a couple of part-time jobs I had that I was able to make a bit of money, because at that time really there wasn't as much money to be made from jiu-jitsu, let's say. But nowadays I guess it's tricky. You have to be your own self-employed businessman, really. So you have to try and make a little bit from each thing, whether it's teaching, private, seminars, competition, different things like that. So I guess it all adds up, but it's going to be individual as well. So each individual person, if you want to live through the sport, I think you can. You just have to figure out how to make it work for you. There's no set answer, because everyone has a different situation.
Of Cool. Would you say the best part is the traveling part, like getting to go to different places?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you know yourself from training, you visit a new gym, straight away you have 10, 20 new friends. Everyone tells you all the best things to go see in the city, all the best places to go, and you kind of instantly have a lot in common with everyone. So that's probably one of the best parts. And besides that, like in terms of the sport itself, I just feel like there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
You know, in some other sports, you're kind of trying to improve your physicality, or trying to improve this, or trying to problem solve. But in jiu-jitsu, it's never ending in terms of like the scope of the technique and the game plans and everything. So for me, I really enjoy just coming to training and leaving feeling like I picked up at least one new thing that I can kind of take with me.
Right, so sticking to that now, so what would you say to someone who's trying to improve in their jiu-jitsu? Because I feel like it's easy, even like myself, like to come to training, get training over and done with, and then go home and then come training again the next day. Is there like a thing that you would advise people to improving their jiu-jitsu?
I think you see, people put so much effort into the physical side of it. They'll come and do 2 hours, no problem. But sometimes then they leave out the 10 minutes before and after that can actually be as important sometimes. So I'll just say to a lot of people, a nice practical way is, if you're having your cup of tea or coffee before going to training, just spend those 10 minutes to look at a couple of videos, plan out your goals for that session. Maybe it's based on the problems you had the day before, there's a couple of things you want to solve. Or maybe a thing that I always do is I'll have, let's say, a goal from the top, a goal from the bottom, and maybe a submission goal. And I'll have that consistently for at least a month or two until I can kind of fully add it to my game. So yeah, I think just always keep it in mind to keep the quality in the training and always working towards some kind of specific technical goal, because it all adds up then in the long run. And then the same thing at night time, make sure maybe just keep a little jiu-jitsu journal or something beside your bed, write down a few little notes on even just things you did well at training that day. You know, I find that really important. Don't write down too many things that you did bad, you know, or I need to do this better. Just write down the things you did well. And then you kind of, in your head, you like, over the course of writing that out, maybe you're writing out, I did this well, I did this well, I did this well. You're kind of building it into you that you're good at those things, and then you'll be able to pull them off more effectively in the training, you know. So those are just a few things that I use. But
I read in a book, I forgot what book it was, but they said, you know, the strengths that you have, a lot of people, they say, focus on your negatives and make them become strengths. But in this book it said, double down on your strengths. And I thought that was interesting, amazing. But you talked about goals there as well. So what are your goals at the moment? Like, it could be in life as well.
It's funny because I still have written on my, like, if I go home to my mom's house at home, I have like a bedside locker beside my bed, and I have just a little A4 page, and it's so like shriveled up now and all, but it's there probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years since I was maybe a purple belt, and has like the short term, medium term, long term goals, and thankfully I'm on the long term ones now. And even a few of them are already ticked off, but there's always going to be ADCC champion and Nogi world champion. So I'm always working towards those. You know, I definitely feel like with my talent and skill level and ambition and all those things and commitment, I definitely have a world level medal in me. So I just need to get a few of those now. So
Well, what's your mindset like when you're going and competing in these big events, like for example ADCC? What was that like?
I'm always experimenting with different like mindsets throughout the lower belts or throughout even black belts. Like sometimes I'll try approaching the competition this way, sometimes I'll try approaching it another way. And just from experience in all those, for me the one that works best, because it's obviously going to be a very individual thing, is just to try and have a clear mind. You know, clear mind. So anytime I feel like, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I'm getting distracted from the competition, I just take it and throw it away and just keep a clear mind. So I'll either have clear mind or thinking of just strategy or tactics for the event.
How do you deal with like the fear aspect of going out and competing in front of thousands of people? You know?
Like obviously everyone says it's always going to be there, but then you kind of accept that negativity and keep it with you. So what I usually do is I like to think in terms of facts, and I'll just try and rephrase something in another way. So like if I'm very nervous, I'll just try and change the fact to one that suits me better. So I'll say I'm very excited, you know, because I mean your brain doesn't really know the difference between nervous and excited. It's just you kind of attach negativity to one, and the other one is a more positive idea. So just try and change the facts like that. Like if I say, oh, I'm worried about what this person will do to me, I'll just change it around and I'll say, well, he's most likely worried about what I'm going to do to him as well.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone is quite similar in their way. So I just try and change any negative things to positive, and then I already have the other positive things as well. And that just helps you kind of have more confidence and belief in your own abilities. You know?
Wow,
yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah,
it's just simple stuff as well, but that's where the experience comes in. You know, because you have to fuck up so many times before you figure out what kind of strategies work for you. You know.
Yeah, like you gotta fail to succeed.
Exactly.
You gotta. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, which is the way it is.
Yeah, it's like that. No, amazing. When do you think that you will be competing, like in ADCC trials and that again? Because you didn't do it this year, did you?
No, I just had some bad injuries and stuff the last year, but it's no problem. I feel like I've improved a lot actually since the last time I did it. So I'm looking forward to next year, just getting back to the normal ADCC cycle, and hopefully at the next one, everyone will see me there putting on a good show, you know.
For sure. You touched on injuries there, so let's just talk a little bit about that. So what is it like going through, like, you know, because obviously with jiu-jitsu, right, you're marketing yourself in a way, right? So if you get injured, that means you can't make money in a way, is it?
I guess it is. I guess you just have to, again, it's like the thing with the competition, you have to turn it into a positive as best you can, you know. So let's take, for example, last year, I knew I had a few months where I wasn't going to be competing, but I was still able to train in a certain way. So I just trained how I could. I did a lot of specific sparring, still going hard, still getting good resistance, and I came back from that kind of few months very positive. I didn't spend a few months waiting until I was like good to go. I built up to it. I came back with loads of new skills, and yeah, it's just like anything in life. You have to try and spin it in as positive way you can, and kind of use the cards you're dealt with, you know.
Yeah, I feel like some people, when they get injured or whatever, they're like, right, it's a good time for me to take a break now, and then instead of just focusing on the things they can do. Yeah. So it's very amazing to hear that.
It even happened to me before. I think one of the first big competitions that I won was probably the Nogi Europeans as a brown belt. That was kind of the first sign to, let's say, my friends and my family and my training partners that, oh, he's actually kind of like good at this, you know, or has a bit of talent, you know. And I had like pretty bad ankle injury maybe 2 or 3 months before that. So I spent the whole, let's say, 2 months leading up to that competition. I didn't play guard at all. I had my ankle fully taped up, so it was just like locked rigid, so it wouldn't, because any kind of a butterfly hook movement would just re-injure it, or like very painful, you know. And then the first time I didn't tape it was for the competition, and I won by playing guard. Wow. And in that time as well, my passing, my top game, because that's all I did for 2 months, improved a ton. So it was nearly a good thing in the long run that happened, you know.
Everything happens for a reason.
I mean, that's just, whether it's true or not, that's just the way you have to look at it, because you know, it's a nice way to look at it.
What's the worst injury you've had?
I suppose I'm always very careful in terms of like body injuries. And so I've never had any bad like injuries to like a joint or anything. I've had a few little sprains on knees, I had a couple of bad sprains on the ankles, and then last year just had like a kind of freak, we say, health issue. But again, it was something that it was serious at the time, but I knew that after the few months of just keeping an eye on it and sorting it out, that it would go back to normal, and thankfully it did. I'm back to normal now. So it was just a case of, look, you're sitting on the bench for 6 or 8 months, and then you're gonna be fine. But I could still train through that. You know, it was just like a cautious 6 or 8 months, and then you're back to normal. You know, so in the long run, it's no big deal. You know, I'm just delighted to be back doing what I love the whole time. You know.
You're looking good as well. Like,
thanks very much.
So, I gotta ask you this as well. You know, you've competed against so many amazing people. You've beat a lot of amazing people as well. Is there anyone that has stood out, or is there anyone that you would like to compete that you haven't competed against?
I guess I'm always looking to compete against the guys who are like top 5, top 10 in the world. You know, especially the top like 3 or 4 guys. You know, I always love to get a shot at those. Obviously, being European is kind of trickier, you know, because there isn't as many, let's say, super fight shows on around Europe, you know. But at the same time, I think over the next couple of years I'll get those opportunities. I'm going to surprise some of those guys, you know. no one in particular that I'm looking forward to competing against, just anyone who's in the top 3 or 4, you know, because as well as trying to be world champion, it's always going to be the goal to be number 1, you know. I know there's no official rankings, let's say, but in the minds of other people and most importantly myself, you know, I know that I should be up around that kind of top echelon of the sport, you know.
Yeah.
And then in terms of people I've competed against a lot of world champions, and again, there's no one I competed against that I felt was amazing, you know. But that's the way the sport is. I mean, sometimes people at the highest level, they look almost superhuman to the people who are less experienced. But once you get that experience and that skill level yourself, they're just normal. You know, you'll have tough matches and stuff, and people are experienced and they're good at using their game against you. But no one is superhuman. You know, everyone has weaknesses and everyone has a few strengths as well.
Yeah. Oh, amazing, man. No. Are you? I know this is a silly question, but are you in a relationship at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you balance that and jiu-jitsu, traveling? Like, how do you balance that?
It is tricky. I mean, I don't really know, because obviously everyone's relationship or non-relationship is different, but I think it just has to be done. It's just, I guess, it has to be with the right person, someone who's like understanding and, you know, supports you. And, you know, thankfully my girlfriend does, you know, lovely person, supports me a lot. And yeah, you just figure it out. The same way if you want to train and improve and you come from a small town with not many training partners, you can either say, oh, I don't know what to do, or you can just figure it out along the way. So that's kind of what we do, yeah. And I mean, it's not too bad. It has some great benefits as well. We get to do a lot of travel together. You know, it's nice to have kind of an unpredictable, spontaneous life, especially when you're in your 20s, early 30s, you know, when you get to travel around, see new places, meet new people. So again, I like to just see the positive side of things, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Talking about traveling there as well, you've gone to different places. Is there, like, apart from Drag, of course, is there anywhere else that stood out to you that you've enjoyed?
I'm trying to think now of some places that are a bit different. I guess I love traveling.
Obviously, I always love traveling to America because everything's big, everyone is overly positive, there's great level of jiu-jitsu there. But I kind of like going around Europe, and like if I'm teaching seminars, doing seminar tour around Europe, I love like seeing how different countries and cultures learn their jiu-jitsu, or how they're training, or how passionate people are. Because sometimes in those small towns in a place you've never heard of, there might only be 10, 20 students at the gym, but they're all there every day, they're all obsessed with it. So I just love traveling around and seeing the different passion that people have for the different countries and how they approach learning and improving, you know, when they're in kind of a more difficult circumstance to learn. Maybe they don't even speak English, and they have to learn from resources that are all based in English, you know. So it's just interesting to see how much effort some people go through to learn jiu-jitsu, and it makes you appreciate the fact that thankfully I've been lucky, I've been able to learn from some great coaches and people throughout the years. So I like to travel and teach and try and share what I've learned with those kind of people, you know.
That's amazing. Yeah, for sure. Just last question now, Tom, before we get done. I know you're a busy guy as well. What would make someone great, would you say? Like, what's greatness in your opinion?
I think it's being able to fully realize yourself and your potential, maybe. You know, so like for me, for example, it's hard to speak on anyone else's behalf, but I know for me, I'd be satisfied if I don't waste my potential. You know, that's always been my biggest fear. Like, I know I should be getting these certain results, but at the end of the day, I can't fully control the results. You know, maybe someone has a performance of their life and it means I get a silver medal instead of a gold, you know, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. But if I can reach my potential in skill level, commitment, and then performance as well, and competing, because that's obviously a different skill set in itself. So as long as I can reach my own potential, I feel like that is success. And I mean, really, even just aiming for it and going through the process of it and staying committed to it, that's the only real success you can have, you know, with anything really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I see it, you know.
I love that answer, because like, I listen to a lot of Inky Johnson. I don't know if you've heard of him at the moment, but he used to be an American footballer, but he said that's the success, like the process. It's all about the process.
It sounds so cheesy, but like,
it's who you become.
At the same time, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know.
It's who you become on the way, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just again, it just goes back to the thing. I'm delighted to show up every day and make sure that I'm eager to learn, that I'm hungry to get better, and help everyone as well.
Yeah.
You know, because I find the more you help people and the more you share with everyone, it all comes back to you in the long run. So that's kind of the approach that I've always had, and so far it's been working. So try and keep pushing with it. Yeah.
No, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Tom. I really
thanks
appreciate
for
your
it.
time. Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thanks, guys. If you want to go and check Tom out, I'll leave all of his social media down below. Make sure you go and check him out. You know, he's definitely going to be a champion, ADCC champion soon. So, yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Brad, for having me.